You already know what you're supposed to be doing right now, and you're not doing it. That gap, the space between what you know and what you actually do, is the most expensive real estate on earth. And you've been paying rent on it for years. Locking in isn't motivation. It's not a mood you wait for. It's a decision you make with your whole body. And today I'm going to show you how to make it on command. Because right now, somewhere, someone with half your talent is passing you. Not because they're smarter, not because they got lucky, but because they learned how to lock in, and you're still waiting to feel ready. Let me tell you what waiting to feel ready is costing you. Every dream you've postponed didn't disappear. It moved into a room in the back of your mind, and it's still in there, breathing, watching you scroll, watching you say tomorrow. That version of you, the one who did the work, he's real. He exists in every choice you didn't make. And the distance between you and him grows a little wider every single day you stay scattered. That's the quiet cost nobody tells you about. Not failure. Drift. Think of your attention as a magnifying glass. On its own, sunlight is warm but harmless. It touches everything and changes nothing. But hold that same light in one place, focus it to a single point, and it burns. That's the only difference between the people who make it and the people who almost do. Same light, same hours in the day. One of them learned to hold the glass still. That's what locking in means. Taking the scattered light of your life and burning a hole straight through the thing that matters. Keep that image with you, because everything I'm about to tell you is just a different way of holding the glass. First, decide before the moment arrives. Most people think discipline happens in the hard moment, the alarm at 5 a.m., the empty gym, the blank page. They think it's a battle of willpower fought in real time. And that's exactly why they lose. Because in that moment, your tired brain always votes for comfort. Every time. Willpower is a terrible negotiator at 5 a.m. So stop negotiating. The people who lock in don't win the moment, they remove the moment entirely by deciding the night before. The clothes are laid out. The plan is written. The choice is already made. So there's nothing left to decide when the weakness comes. You're not stronger than they are. You just gave your strong self the steering wheel before your weak self woke up. Tonight, decide one thing about tomorrow, one non-negotiable, and write it down where you'll see it. Not a wish. A decision made in advance by the version of you that still has energy. Second, shrink the target until you can't miss. Here's why most people never start. They're staring at the whole mountain. Write the book. Build the business. Lose the weight. The size of it freezes them, so they do nothing. And doing nothing feels safer than failing at something huge. But watch what happens when you shrink it. Not write the book, write one paragraph. Not get in shape, put your shoes on and stand outside. The goal isn't to trick yourself into small progress. The goal is to make starting so small that resistance has nothing to push against. Because here's the secret they don't tell you. You don't need motivation to do the whole thing. You only need it to start. And starting is almost always smaller than you fear. Momentum is a liar in reverse. It makes the next step easier, not harder. So make the first step insultingly easy, embarrassingly small. Then watch the mountain move under your feet while you weren't looking. Third, protect the first hour like your life depends on it, because your day does. How you spend the first hour after you wake is a rehearsal for how you'll spend the whole day. Reach for your phone, and you've just handed your focus to 1,000 strangers before you said a word to yourself. You're reacting before you've decided. You're playing defense in a game you could have been winning. The people who lock and guard that first hour like a vault. No feeds, no news, no noise. Just the one thing that matters most, done first, before the world gets its hands on you. Do the hard thing before the easy things pile up and bury it. Win the morning and the day bends toward you. Lose it, and you'll spend the next 12 hours trying to catch a train that already left. Tomorrow, give the first hour to yourself. See who you become when nobody else gets a vote before you do. Fourth, build a room with no exits. Willpower fails, but environment doesn't get tired. This is the part people miss. They think locking in is about being stronger. It's not. It's about being smarter with the space around you. If the phone is in the room, you will check it. Not because you're weak, but because you're human, and human brains chase the easiest reward available. So don't fight it. Remove it. Put the phone in another room. Delete the app. Unplug the console. Make the distraction require 10 steps instead of 0, and watch how quickly your focus returns, not through struggle, but through design. The strongest people you know aren't grinding through temptation all day. They quietly removed the temptation months ago and now they look disciplined for free. Discipline is often just an engineered environment wearing a costume. What's one thing you could remove from your space right now that would make focus the path of least resistance? Fifth, treat boredom as the doorway, not the wall. Here's what nobody warns you about locking in. It gets boring. The excitement of starting fades, and what's left is the quiet, unglamorous middle, the reps, the repetition, the days that look identical. Most people quit right here. Not at the hard part, at the boring part. They mistake the plateau for a dead end. when it's actually the exact place where everyone else gives up and the field clears out for you. Boredom isn't a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you've stopped needing constant novelty to move forward, which is the whole skill. The magic isn't in the exciting first week. It's in the boring 100th day, done anyway, with the same quiet commitment as the first. Learn to sit in that boredom without reaching for your phone, and you'll have a superpower almost no one has anymore: the ability to stay when staying stops being fun. Sixth, measure it, or you'll lie to yourself. The mind is a beautiful liar. It will tell you that you worked hard when you drifted, that you're making progress when you're spinning, that I did my best when you didn't. The only cure is a number. Track the reps, mark the calendar, count the words, not because numbers are the point, but because they're the truth, and the truth is what your feelings will try to hide from you. When you can see the chain of days growing, something changes, you stop wanting to break it. The streak becomes its own reason, and on the day you don't feel like it, the honest calendar staring back at you does the arguing that your tired mind can't. Measure the thing you swore mattered. If you won't count it, you don't really want it, and that's a harder truth than any missed workout. Seventh, expect the resistance, and name it out loud. There's a moment right before you start the hard thing, where a voice appears. It tells you you're tired. It tells you tomorrow would be better. It tells you this doesn't matter that much anyway. Most people think that voice is information. It's not. It's just resistance, and it shows up strongest right before a breakthrough, like a guard standing in front of the room you most need to enter. The people who lock in learn to recognize the voice instead of obeying it. They hear it and think, there you are, right on time. Naming it strips its power. It stops being your truth and becomes just weather, loud, temporary, and safe to move through. The feeling that you can't will always arrive before the proof that you can. Do it while the voice is still talking. That's the whole trick. You don't silence the doubt. You act with it riding shotgun, screaming, ignored. Eighth, choose your hard. This is the one that ties it all together. So slow down here. Everything in life is hard. Discipline is hard, the early mornings, the boredom, the saying no. But listen closely, because this is the part that changes everything. Regret is also hard. Being out of shape is hard. Being broke is hard. Watching the years pass while your dream sits in that back room is hard. There is no version of your life that isn't hard. You don't get to choose easy. That option was never on the table. What you get to choose is which hard you want to carry. The heart of doing the work, or the heart of living with what happens when you don't. One heart builds you, the other buries you. And once you truly understand that comfort was always a lie, that the couch has a cost, that avoiding the struggle is its own heavier struggle delayed, you stop asking, how do I make this easier? And start asking, which pain is worth it? That question, asked honestly, will lock you in faster than any alarm clock ever could. So here's the truth I've been circling this whole time. The thing underneath every point I've given you. Locking in was never about being more disciplined than other people. It was about being more honest. Honest that the moment is already decided the night before. Honest that the mountain shrinks when you start. Honest that your environment is quietly voting for or against you every second. Honest that boredom is the toll, not the wall. Honest that your feelings lie and the number doesn't. Honest that the voice of resistance is just weather. And honest, brutally, finally honest, that hard is coming for you no matter what. So you might as well choose the hard that leaves you proud. Let me hand it all back to you in one breath. Decide before the moment comes. Shrink the target until you can't miss. Guard the first hour. Design a room with no exits. Walk through the boredom. Count what matters. Name the resistance and move anyway. And when everything in you wants to quit, choose your hard. You don't need a new year. You don't need Monday. You don't need to feel ready. Because ready is a feeling that arrives after you start, never before. You need one decision, made right now, small enough to keep and honest enough to matter. The magnifying glass is in your hand. It always was. The light is the same light everyone else gets, the same 24 hours, the same tired mornings, the same doubt. The only question left is whether you'll hold it still long enough to burn. That person in the back room, the one who did the work, he's not a fantasy. He's a choice. And he's waiting to see if today is the day you finally stop watching him and become him. Your future isn't something that happens to you. It's something you're building right now, in this exact moment, with what you do the second this ends. So don't just feel this. Do the first small thing before the feeling fades. Lock in. The rest of your life is watching.